live on YouTube. So we've got another 2 minutes to go, Vivek. If you allow me, tell me how you're feeling today.
Good
That's my
question.
regular question to Vivek.
Yes, I think we are color coordinated. You and I are in white. Vikas also seems to be in white. So, ma'am is the only colorful one, and that's appropriate.
So,
I think the
Suman,
summers.
ma'am, yes, it's summertime. So, Vikas and Suman, ma'am, Vivek and I do these webinars every day, and we've covered more than 40 schools now and around 25,000 teachers we've touched.
Oh,
The
wow.
whole idea behind this exercise is to engage with each other and inspire each other. So I'll speak about that. So another 30 seconds, Vivek will go live.
Sure.
Fantastic. I think all the teachers are on YouTube, I guess. I don't see anyone on Zoom as yet.
We're live on YouTube as well, sir, and I've passed on the link to Shikha ma'am. So probably she'll be
That's
filling
right.
it through.
That's right. I think Vivek has probably just gone to have a glass of water, and we'll start.
Yeah, no, I just had a power problem, so I'm just trying to see that I may have to shift somewhere in the middle. The power is
Okay.
gone for some reason. Anyway, we'll see.
So Vivek, if you allow me, can we start?
We can start.
So good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, teachers. Vivek, Vikas, Suman, ma'am. Good afternoon, and
Yeah.
welcome to Ideas That Matter, series of webinars by Shulini University, Kasauli Hills, Solan, Himachal Pradesh. It's my honor to have both Suman ma'am, you and Vikas on this webinar. Vikas, of course, is a dear friend. He's been a Shulinian in his past. He and I were colleagues at Shulini.
Yeah.
Quick introduction to the series. We started Ideas That Matter to interact with teachers of schools, to inspire them and to ensure that they inspire their students as a result of the inspiration they get. It's a discussion forum, so I'll request all of you to ask questions, post them on YouTube on the comments page, and we'll be delighted to answer every questions that you have. I have Vivek Atre with me today. As all of you know, Vivek is an ex-IS officer, a TEDx speaker, motivational speaker, an author, lots of things under his belt, so I won't go through all of them. But more importantly for me, as I always say, a very dear friend and a professor at Shulini University. So I think before I start, I'll request Vikas to say a few words to the teachers, and we'll then request Vivek to start. The format would be Vivek and I will take around 30 minutes, Vivek predominantly hosting the show, and I'll come in between, and we'll then pose it for Q&A when I'll request Vikas and Sumanji to please come and participate in the panel. Vikas, over to you, and then we'll have Vivek take it over. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Dr. Atul. Thank you, Dr. Atul. Before going ahead, I would like to just, put up some light. My name is Vikas Dikshit, done engineering. And then after the engineering, I pursued for the MBA in Human Resource Management from England. And then I came back to India to join one of the premier institutes of India, which is Shulini University, from which I give credit to Shulini University, from where I started my teaching career. I learned a lot from Dr. Khosla. Uh, he is the person I would give credit after my mother, that from these people I have learned the things which are important for this kind of career. So after joining Shulini, I worked there for a long time. From the starting time, due to some unfortunate reason, I have to come back. So after that, I have joined uh, my parental initiation institution, Blue Star School, where I worked for the past 10 years. And now I've started one more institution in the name of Oxford International School, which is going good right now. And this is the thing. I really appreciate when I got the message from Shulini University that this kind of platform is there and this kind of discussion is going to be there. I think it was one of the wonderful movement for me to join this webinar and be in the company of Dr. Atul Khosla and Vivek Atre, Mr. Vivek Atre, because this kind of series give us more chances to express our views in front of a large audience. I think that will be all. I'll just ask Dr. Sumalata to just put up some light, because she's the one lady who started the first school, private school sector in Hamirpur, Himachal Pradesh, and she has done a lot for the education sector in schooling. So I'll just ask her to say a few words.
Thank you. Over to you, Suman ma'am.
It's my pleasure that today I am interacting with the founder of non-university, Sholani University, and I am really feeling very proud that today we are interacting with each other. And Sholani University, so many times, university has arranged so kind of seminars or every activities, and our school students, they always participate in that activities. So many times they attend the seminar also. And I am really very happy to see you, and you are now founder member. Being a founder member, you are doing so much, and you are doing excellent work.
Thank you, Suman ma'am. We truly appreciate, and hopefully we'll live up to all the good words of yours and Vikas's. Vivek, over to you. I think you're inverted, but you're looking good. You may start. I think you're struggling a little. Looks good, Vivek. I'll request all of us to now switch off our videos and mute ourselves, please. Vivek, we can't hear you as yet. You need to. I think Vivek is having some technology challenge. Yeah, we can see you now.
I wanted Vikas sir to send the message to the teachers, because we only have very few have joined on the YouTube.
Yeah. They're sending the message now, and they will be joining within a short time.
Fine.
Okay, now I'm all set to speak. I'm sure I can be heard now. So I'm going to start talking on emotional intelligence. Atul, are you there? Yeah, okay.
Yes, I'm there, Vivek. Thank you. And you're a little breaking a little, so you might want to come a little closer to the your phone.
Let me come closer.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So now, and so I'm very warm welcome to you, and thank you, Vikas, and thank you, Atul, and thank you, Suman ma'am, and words. Atul, you in these webinars. It's been fantastic the way we've been able to get so many schools in this ambit, and I'm sure one day, maybe next year, even without virus, we will be able to repeat these sessions, because teachers and human beings, they tend to forget, but sometimes it is possible to come into proper linkages and proper communication through whatever we are doing. So now I'm going to just tell you that emotional intelligence is the key to life. There are so many things which are very, very important in life, but emotional intelligence is one of them. And that one is very, very vital for the context. I can tell you that emotional intelligence gives us a lot of balance, a lot of calmness, a lot of success. And that success doesn't come easily otherwise. It comes only if we have emotional intelligence. What is emotional intelligence? It is the ability to balance your situations and people who you meet and deal with them calmly. So how do we balance our lives and how do we deal with people calmly? That is emotional intelligence. There are people with high intelligence and low emotional intelligence. Let us take maybe a topper of, let's say, physics, who is very good at physics, excellent scientist, but doesn't really know how to talk to people, how to communicate well, how to understand how to work in a team. That is an example of someone with high IQ and low EQ. However, there could be the reverse, somebody who's very caring, very sharing, very nice to others, with a lot, doesn't have much intelligence though, is good natured, is helpful, could be someone who is a gardener, could be someone who is an officer also, not very intelligent, but very, very outgoing and very, very effusive, very cheerful, high emotional intelligence. So these two things both are required by us, intelligence and emotional intelligence, in order to be successful. As teachers, as professionals, as students, as officers, as private businessmen, or whatever you do in life, it is vital. Teachers, especially if we talk about, teachers require high emotional intelligence because they are handling the future of the country. They are handling the youngest generation. And that youngest generation is very sensitive. They often become scared or worried, or they become disillusioned, or they become indisciplined. It is very important that teachers are with high emotional intelligence deal with these children, so that children also learn the right values. And the right values will come if the teachers are, balanced human beings. They give good examples of themselves, and they are also, their conduct, their temperament, their patience levels are high. That is very important. So let us start with someone who is, let's say, a teacher in a classroom, and this teacher has a rowdy class. She's a new teacher in a school, and this class has about 40 kids who are rowdy, indisciplined, ill-behaved, ill-mannered, most of them. Some of them are, of course, gentle students. It's always a mix. However, that class doesn't listen to her. Whenever she goes to the class, she has to come back. She's not happy because she couldn't teach properly. They kept interrupting her. What does she do in such a situation? The children are difficult. And even the principal, or even a film star, or even an IAS officer or a minister may go to a crowd of children and try to address them with a speech, or try to give them some gyan, so to say, but the children might not cooperate. They might start getting restless, only because the teachers are there to keep strict discipline, is why they listen. Otherwise, they may not want to listen. So there are two different things. One is only discipline, which is making them quiet and well-behaved. The other is that they respect the teacher, that they want to listen to the teacher, that they want to know what the teacher has to say. So the teacher who has high emotional intelligence will be able to understand that even a rowdy class one day can become a cooperative class, a well-behaved class, a well-mannered class, and intelligent, participative class of students. Nowadays, you are online, and online you have to do lots of things. You have to teach online, and you are interacting with students. Emotional intelligence in the classroom is one matter. Emotional intelligence through online teaching is another matter. So online teaching entails a lot of preparation. I would suggest that before your online class, you should be ready and prepared. Atul and Shikha and Kamal, they always come 10 minutes early before this session starts. And today, luckily, I also came early. I had some technical issues. I could sort them out. Otherwise, if I had come late, it was difficult for me to do that. Now, what is the problem? The problem is that we are not prepared for these online classes. Emotional intelligence tells us, be calm and collected before the class. If you're running, speaking, children are also not prepared. They are not listening. It is difficult. Chalo, we'll talk about online classes and all a little later. Let us come to 2 or 3 basics. Emotional intelligence will increase in us if we start understanding others. If we start understanding that people are from different backgrounds. And we know that, but we don't really have the patience with them. So if we see that one person, one child may be from a very poor family and may not have proper upbringing. The parents are laborers. The parents don't even work. I mean, they don't have a regular job. They don't know what to do to get a living also. But the child has come to school and they want that child to study. Somehow they are able to send the child to school. You cannot expect that child to behave in the same way as the child of someone who is comfortable and the parents are well established, well placed. That child will have a different upbringing. The third type of child might be somebody whose parents are too busy. They have no time for the children. They are not able to take out time at all. And the maid is raising the children. The children are being taught by the maids. Both the parents come back at 8 o'clock or 7:30 or 7 from office. Both of them are busy. After that, they are on their laptops. This happens in big cities especially. And both of them have hardly any time for the children. The children want to be with their parents. And you will find that in the class, such a child may be badly behaved, may be irrational, ill-tempered, fighting with others. Especially if the children have parents who are stressed out themselves or who are also arguing. So your emotional intelligence as a teacher has to tell you that all these different kinds of children need to be dealt with differently, and I need to be calm and patient with them. Your emotional intelligence has to tell you that a difficult child has to be dealt with separately and not humiliated in the class. If you humiliate a child, the child will never forget. Never forget. She will always or he will always remember, this ma'am, this sir humiliated me in front of class, in front of the school, and it was a very terrible lesson for that child. We have to be patient, calm, solid, firm. We cannot be taken lightly, but we don't have to be ill-tempered or ill-behaved with the students. These are the lessons that emotional intelligence teaches us. We'll come back to some finer points of emotional intelligence later. So I'm going to request Atul to show you a video and talk about emotional intelligence and his learnings. And then I'll come back with some more points. Over to you, Atul.
Thank you, Vivek. As we speak about emotional intelligence, I'd like to bring in two thoughts over here. The first one is that it's emotional intelligence that's going to make ordinary students extraordinary, ordinary people extraordinary. It's not the brains that you have, especially not in today's world, but it's the ability to work together in teams, collaborate, lead a team, and work in a team that makes people do extraordinary things. The second thing I'd like to share is my thought on creativity. Typically, people with strong EQ will have strong creativity. They'll have a strong right brain. The right brain or creativity is what you need to succeed in today's world. Analytics, IQ, mathematical instinct can possibly be replicated by the computer. But what's going to differentiate us from the computer and from artificial intelligence and all the gizmos that we see is going to be our ability to interact with people. At this juncture, Vivek, I'd like to bring in the case example of a very dear student of ours, Aman. And Aman has done some amazing things. Aman was a reasonably okay student in her bachelor's and master's, but in PhD, magic happened. She's now won something called the Young Water Fellow Award. It's an award where more than 100,000 researchers across the world compete. And it entails a 6-month stint in Geneva, which Aman just concluded. She's also won a 25 lakh award from Tata Trust and Lockheed Corporation. She doesn't come from a great rich family. She comes from a lesser privileged family from Punjab. If Aman can do it, so can everyone. But how did Aman do it? She did it with collaboration. She did it because of great leadership from her guide. And she did it because she brought in huge amount of creativity into her work. I'll talk about the work as I progress into the discussion, but Vivek, if you allow me, I'd like to share a video right now.
Please go ahead.
A small, simple idea can change the world. And it comes from creativity and EQ. And this is the story of Aman in short. I'd like to add over here that IQ, or our brains as we call it, can take you far, can get you a good job, can possibly give you a little bit of success in the materialistic way. You'll probably become a good engineer or a good doctor. People with EQ do way better, definitely. But if you have and can combine your IQ with EQ, you become visionaries. So think about it. Think about how you can bring EQ and emotional intelligence into your work, and how you can bring in creativity into your work, inspiration into your work, leadership into your work. I think Vivek is back. I won't eat into the time because we're all here to listen to Vivek. Over to you, Vivek.
Thank you very much.
You are on two phones, I guess, Vivek, so you are echoing.
Now I'm okay. I'm okay now?
You have another thing on, but it's okay. Do you have a phone on or something by any chance?
Yeah, just switch off. I think it's better now.
It's still echoing, Vivek.
Let me see. I had a power problem. Hopefully it should be.
Yeah, you're gone. You can start, Vivek. I think you're fine now. Please go ahead.
All right. So Atul showed you a video of Aman, and Aman is an outstanding student. Without emotional intelligence, it is difficult to rise too high in life. What happens is that intelligence can take us only so far. Ultimately, with whom are we interacting all the time? We are interacting with people. And people mean that we have to understand people and have people skills to deal with them. If we have people skills, then we can deal with people in a manner that is requisite. I just spoke to you about students in the class, but let us talk about our personal relationships. Sometimes we lose our temper. Sometimes we lose our cool. We are human. At times we lose our temper and cool. Sometimes we will say things that we shouldn't have said. Sometimes we are, in a hurry to get things done. We are restless. We are in busy times, and we are irrational, or we are not composed while speaking with and dealing with people. So can we analyze our minds at the end of each day and see where were we today? Was my mind scattered? Was it calm? Was it restless? Was it angry? Was it impatient or patient? Was I able to control my irritability, or was I not? These are the signs that you are progressing. We may be irrational or ill-tempered as teenagers. At the age of 17, 18, 19, they say garam khoon or whatever. So that kind of time, it is okay to be a little bit jumpy and restless and in a hurry. Once we mature, we have to control our tempers, moods. Paramahansa Yogananda said, moods are your greatest enemies. He says, carry within yourself a portable paradise where you won't allow moods to enter, where you won't allow anything to disturb you. That portable paradise is something that is vital. So all the time we should have at least one part of us which is not affected by what people say. Emotional intelligence means we understand others, we understand ourselves. So Daniel Goleman is the authority on emotional intelligence. He said the first thing is self-awareness. If you are aware of yourself, if you are aware of what you're doing, if you are aware of how you react and interact with others, only then you will be able to understand your own emotions, understand your conduct, your behavior. Sometimes we are too soft on ourselves and we are too harsh on others. That is also something which should not happen. We should be harsh on ourselves and soft on others. We are too partial to our own moods and our own anger and our own behavior. We think that's fine. But another person, he should not or she should not do anything to me. So if we have problems of relationships with our colleagues, with our relatives, with mother-in-law, with daughter-in-law, with so-and-so-in-law, and if we have problems with the spouse, with friends, then we have to see that maybe we are also at fault somewhat. I am also a human being. I also find at times that I have behaved irrationally. I should have not behaved like that. But at least I should be aware of that. Later, I should be aware that I could have done this in a mild way, in a quiet way, in a more positive way, and cheerful way. People who have high emotional intelligence, I'll tell you two, maybe the old timers will remember Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin said that when you walk in the rain, it's okay to cry because nobody can see your tears. This is a very high level kind of thought. You see, Charlie Chaplin could make us laugh. Laurel and Hardy could make us laugh. But they were actually people with high emotional intelligence. To make a living out of cutting wood is great. You're working hard, you're getting paid, you have money for whatever you need because you're working very hard. But not much emotional intelligence is required with the wood. The woodcutter and the wood, he needs to only have that kind of emotional intelligence that he is able to use his skills to the best levels. Maybe he's able to sharpen his axe, take time out from his cutting and improve his skills. When he goes to market his wood, there he has to meet people. There he has to talk to people. So even a woodcutter to some extent will need emotional intelligence. But someone like a teacher who has to handle parents, seniors, juniors, and students, and family, and friends, and neighbors. A teacher is an example of someone who needs extremely high emotional intelligence. So analyze yourself. You don't need a score. I mean, there is an EQ score, you can find it out, but you don't need that. You need to write down, these are my plus points, and these are my minus points. These are the areas where, be honest with yourself. I am a little bit, I make excuses. Write down, I make excuses. I tell people that, oh, isliye late ho gaye because this. I make excuses. If you recognize that you make excuses, then it is half the battle won. Your emotional intelligence tells you that I must improve. If you lose your temper, write down that. I lose my temper 10 times a day, 6 times a day. I could retain my calmness at least twice out of these 6 times, at least thrice. If you recognize, then you will improve. Tomorrow, be determined to behave better, conduct yourself better, not fall prey to that kind of behavior and conduct. So write down that for your own self or make a mental note of it. The next point I must raise is what Atul mentioned, creativity. Creativity is superior emotional intelligence. And Einstein said, creativity is intelligence having fun. Intelligence having fun is creativity. Now, creativity means that we are using a superior mindset. I spoke recently on creativity being the elixir of entrepreneurship. Without being creative, there's no point being an entrepreneur. Unless you want to be an agent of Pepsi or something, it's okay. There also you need to be creative on how to do it. But if you are creative, then you will find your life to be superior. You are a painter, you're a photographer, you're a musician, you're a writer, you are also, these are all apart from your job. If you do one of these things, your life will be greater and superior. Take out time for those loves that you had during your college. You wanted to write poetry, you wanted to sing songs, you don't have time now. Find time. Go back to your teenage years. Go back to your childhood years. Find those skills which you had and come out with creativity. Many people start painting and drawing after many years and they find it easy because they knew it. So find that creativity. Also find that creativity in your work. Apart from what you do outside your work, photography, music, etc., in your work, you can be creative. Find ways to reduce the stress on yourself. Find ways to become more efficient. Understand where you are losing time. And understanding what matters and what priorities are important is also emotional intelligence. that I understand that 10 things I do in the day, 5 of them take up too much of my time. The other 5 are the important ones: spending time with the family, working hard on my job, eating healthy food, sitting properly, and spending time on the meal table. Breakfast, I often say, people are running during breakfast, not in lockdown, but otherwise, trying to get to work. They are running, running, running. Even in Himachal, which is a very calm and quiet and sober and very gentle kind of place, lifestyles have changed. People are running, rushing. So that running and rushing needs to be minimized and reduced. We need to plan. I was listening to General Sam Manekshaw's lecture. I started it about 10 days ago, and yesterday I could see the second half. And he said, the army teaches you to be on time. And once an army officer, always an army officer. We need to learn. Civilians need to learn from the army. I myself need to learn. Punctuality is not one of my virtues. I'll be there, but not as early as I should be. And that is something which gives me higher emotional intelligence to understand where I need to improve, and then work on it, by and by, work on it. And therefore, time management becomes better if we are punctual. Gossiping, taking time out to chat with neighbors is okay. But if you spend 4.5 hours chatting with your neighbor, you could have read a book, you could have done some creative, constructive work. There's no point in gossiping about other neighbors with one neighbor. People tend to do that. So I'm going to tell you a story of a person who used to walk in the park. And this person who used to walk in the park, with a friend, he used to see a group of ladies sitting and chattering, and very loudly, very animatedly. And he says, one day they were quiet. Nobody was talking, about 7, 8 of them. And he stopped. He said, why are you all quiet today? Why are you sitting quietly? They said, today, all of us are present. What does that mean? Who do we gossip about? All of us are present. Every day one is absent, so they gossip about that one. It could be men, it could be ladies, there's no difference there. Why do we spend so much time analyzing others? Let us be pleasant to others. Let us be gentle with others, helpful to others, compassionate to others, and think of others in a caring way. But why analyze that this person must be like this, like that? We don't really care. It's not really important to us. And our children also learn from us either way. If we are gossipers, if we are complainers, criticizers, children also become like that. If we are cheerful, we are constructive, we are creative, children become like that. I'm going to end with the 7 C's. I've mentioned some of them already. And these 7 C's lead to higher emotional intelligence. You can tell these to your children also. And they are quite well known, but I'll just go through them. The first one is courage. And courage means fearlessness. Not much worry, not much fear in the mind. Positivity. The second one is character. Character means telling the truth upfront and knowing that God is watching, you are watching yourself. So you cannot make a fool of yourself. When you know you are wrong, you're wrong. Character. Number 3 is creativity. We spoke about it. It's an elixir. Number 4 is cheerfulness. Cheerfulness means most of the time I'm smiling and helpful and positive. Sometimes I call it 80-20 rule. It could be 90-10. 10% or 5% of the time you are worried, low. But most of the time you're not. Cheerfulness. Next is calmness. Calmness means my mind is unruffled. I am active, but calmly. Paramahansa Yogananda said, be calmly active and actively calm. The next one is contentment. I'm content with my life. I want to be better. I want to get even more better at what I'm doing. However, I am happy and grateful for what I have. The next one is compassion. Compassion is something that makes us treat others with respect, with care. Our children nowadays, my daughters are into social sector work, both of them in their different ways. They are empathizing with others. And that is something that our children are also picking up a lot. That's great. The last one is communication. High emotional intelligence means you have good communication skills. You are able to convey to others what you feel positively. You are able to encourage others. There's no point in using those communication skills to shout at somebody in a colorful language. That could also be high level of communication, but low level of emotional intelligence. So I'll stop there on that very colorful note and pass it over to Atul for the rest of the session, and he'll give his ideas and also inspire us with a video on Shulini.
Thank you, Vivek. So inspiring as always. I have to tell the audience that one of the most emotionally intelligent people I know is Vivek. He is not just a motivational speaker, but a very motivational person to get to know. I've never seen you but smiling, Vivek. You know, it's just amazing how you keep yourself so composed. And I think it comes from all the meditation that you've been doing all these years. So I think you are definitely a role model, and we all need to emulate you, Vivek. Anyway, as we talk about leadership teachers, I'd like to first of all congratulate you. I think apart from many of us, the other Corona warriors, you are the guys who are the Corona warriors too. You are the ones who've kept the young minds ignited. You're the ones who've kept the world learning. You're the ones who are inspiring the young minds. And you've been doing this for ages, not just during Corona. So hats off to all of you. This is also a bit of the passion of Shulini. Vikas, Suman ma'am, you know a bit about this, but we've got a small video that I'm going to show, if you allow me, Vivek.
Throughout history, the young have always been the ones to shape the future. And they continue to do so today. You are the country's biggest asset, our best bet to conquer the future. So what are you waiting for? Your time to dream is now. Dream of the research that can change the world. Dream of a high-flying corporate career. Dream of higher studies in the world's best universities. Dream of developing cutting-edge technology of the future. Dream of your own global startup. At Shulini University, we empower you and enable you to chase your dreams and change the world. Shulini University. Think learning, think success.
That's the story of Shulini. Every day we try to make young achievers out of the young minds who join Shulini. And of course, Vikas, would love to get you back again to Shulini. Come and visit us. Same here for you, Suman ma'am. I'm not sure whether we have questions, any questions, but faculty teachers, if you have any questions, just post them and we'll try to answer them. But I have a few questions before we get any from the audience, Vivek. I'd love Suman ma'am and Vikas sir to please switch on their videos and unmute themselves if you can. Thank you so much. So So Vivek, the question that comes to my mind is, as young people, we always believe in strong IQ and we're all very energetic and we're always excited about doing work. When did you become a high EQ person? Were you always like this, or you built this over the years?
Oh, great question, Atul. It's a great question. Actually, my parents were the reason I think where I had an head start. And they were very calm people. I noticed I was a youngster, so I used to be hot-headed at times. But my mother was very calm, and she passed away at the age of 50. And before that, my father was also 50 when he passed away. So I didn't have them for too long in my life till I was 25 or something. But I felt that they were the calmest people I know, and I think that gave me and my sisters a great upbringing. But I also changed. I mean, I changed over the years. Firstly, Nina, my wife, is also a very calm person, so I'm probably lucky to have all calm people in my life. And she's quite cool and not ruffled by things normally. So in government, there are often reverses, which I also face, transfers or somebody harassing you. So she would always tell me, no, no, this is nothing much, it'll be fine. So that really helped me. I became more calm, and emotional intelligence kept increasing. So basically, my only low, which I could see at that time, was that maybe one, I used to keep worrying about what people think. My colleagues, my seniors, parents, whatever, what will they think if I don't do this? As a growing up child, also in cricket, I remember my coach would think, yeah, I would think, what will the coach think if I get out early? So that used to impact my performance also. That kind of thing I stopped when I became more confident as an officer. And also, I think my temper used to grow immediately at times. Where it used to come down very soon, that I used to cool down. However, that spike used to be there. And now I think it's better, much, much better. I rarely lose my cool, very rarely. And it is mostly I feel cheerful and bouncy. And at the end of the day, also, I feel bouncy, and in the morning also. So that gives me a good sense that I have conquered that. And you are 100% right that meditation actually led to that. In the last 10, 12 years, I've been meditating 12 years. And I do Kriya Yoga morning and evening. Ma'am, Suman Lataji, I must tell you, 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening, and exercises before that 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening. So it comes to a total of 3 hours. 3 hours that you have spent either doing energization exercises or meditation. And that obviously keeps you calm for the rest of the 21 hours, of which 7 hours anyway you're sleeping. So it's okay, not too tough. Atul?
That's very inspiring, Vivek. And I'm very tempted to ask you another question, which is a little personal. See if you want to answer this, but tell us a bit about, if you want to, of course, a low in your life, and how did you deal with it?
Yeah, so I must share with you, and this is a public platform, and I can obviously share. It's a public issue. So I was at a stage in Chandigarh administration where I was very popular, and very, very popular because of the IT park and the tourism work I was doing and promoting Chandigarh, and it was great. This is about 2000 to 2008. And towards 2008, I recall that some senior people started getting into tensions with each other, and vitiated atmosphere started. And there were some complaints against each other. And then we also got embroiled in those controversies. We also were named in, we means me and my colleagues. And then I felt very low at that point when I had a false complaint against me. So then a case was registered, and it was terrible. But then gradually over the years, one realized that these things are more in the mind, and they will never really have that impact which you fear. So it became very difficult for me at that time. Initially, I felt very low. Again, my wife and family were very strong. And meditation also was starting, so I got more into it. Maybe God does it too. He gives you a little jolt just to make you more, to make you closer to Him. So that's how my journey. And that low point was easier to handle because of meditation. And even today, there is something which is still pending, but it's from the past, and it doesn't bother me that much.
So Sumanji, you tell us about, how do you keep your emotional intelligence high? What is your secret? You've got such a charming smile. One can just You just get energy out of even from a video. So how do you keep yourself so charming?
Thank you very much. Whatsoever I have listened from Mr. Atul, really it is a very praiseworthy and it is a very, I think, hopeful and very beneficial for the forthcoming generation and nation builders. So they should follow these instructions, and interaction is very good in my from my side. And Mr. Atul, really, you are really wonderful, and you have given so many thoughts and so many things to do for teachers and as well as everybody, so that we can conduct all kind of students and all kind of human beings in this era. Because you know very well that in this era, it's quite difficult to handle the students as well as the social relations. So your guidance and your points are really very praiseworthy, and you have done a great job.
So you want to react to that, Vivek?
I think Atul and I both came up with these points, and I think we've had a great partnership inspiring people in this webinar series. I'm very glad that you found them to be useful. I'm sure your teachers also found them useful. Maybe what you can do is to revise them with your teachers when you meet them, because what happens, everybody's busy. A webinar doesn't stay in the mind for very long, and a few days later you go back to everything. So try and revise them once in a while. And also, I must mention my book called Finding Success Within, which I'll type out in the chat box. You can share it with your teachers, and if they read that, they will get more points. But thank you for the kind words. Thank you.
Vikas, you want to come up and share your thoughts before we call it today?
Yeah, definitely.
4 minutes before we.
Definitely. Am I audible to everybody? Yeah.
You're audible, but we can't see you.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know why it's happening, but I'm trying to get it on. But let's see.
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
So
you can.
I'll go on with that. Yeah. All right. Okay.
Please.
So first of all, thank you everyone, and thank you, Mr. Atul, Mr. Vivek, for inviting on this webinar. As I was listening to both of you, I was remembering. I was traveling in my past when I was in Shulini. I used to go from Solan to Bajol, then come back every day. So I was in that kind of mood. So whatever Mr. Vivek and great videos, Mr. Atul, I think Shulni, this promotional video is very excellent. I like very much. So these kind of situations, we when we studied in schools, that was a different scenario. You, me, us, that was a different kind of scenario where the teachers were more concentrated upon to get the things into the mind by any way. It may be corporal punishments, it can be anything, stressful management, anything. But at that time, you can say that the respect was at a higher level for the teacher. Right now, the students are more and more put up into the way, and the emotional intelligence, where I can see this topic, it's a very vast topic, and I think already Mr. Vivek has put a large light on that, so I would not take it further that. But he was very right when there's a common assumption about the teachers that the students from the poor background, they have some behavior problems, and that is a very valid point. And then he also concluded that point with a very valid logic that the upbringing is a different part. So how to handle that? It is emotional intelligence. What is emotional intelligence? In my words, it is in handling people, handling yourself and handling people. And I think this is the need of the day. During this pandemic, we have seen the people of different levels, those who can survive themselves on their own, those who are very dependent. You can see the migrants going from one place to other. They're not able to go somehow. They cannot do that. They cannot arrange the food or something. We have seen many emotional videos on YouTube and Facebook, social media. So what comes in that point when we can teach our children that to be more empathetic. Empathy is the main key of emotional intelligence. If they are getting emotional by seeing that video, that means they have that emotional quotient, that will get them along in a long way when they will be, heading their life for professional or any kind of, virgins. So now what happens is, how to get the students, school students, because at
You muted yourself, Vikas, sir.
mature enough, but at the school level, we are handling the students who are not mature. They are dependent upon the parents, upon the teachers. So it's a teamwork from both of sides, the parents as well as the teachers. Mr. Vivek has already said that, to identify your problems, to evaluate your problems, control your emotions, and express how to express. So this was a very, very valuable webinar I've attended, and this was some of the valuable thoughts which have been discussing this kind of situation. So I think it will create more awareness among the teachers who are watching right now, among the parents who are watching right now, and among the students who are just right now, they are, going to be there. So emotional intelligence is the key right now. It's a new concept. Earlier it was only IQ. Everybody was talking about IQ, but now it has gone further to live in a society in a harmonious way, in all-rounder way. We must have emotional intelligence, because when I got the list of topics, so I told Gaurav कि गौरव ये सारे टॉपिक तो यार एक जैसे ही लग रहे हैं, they are interrelated, they are interknitted. You cannot, say to me कि आप एक टॉपिक पे बोलिएगा. So I think that was one thing Mr. Vivek already, that creativity se start हुए, and then he went up to all the topics. So these are all interrelated topics. And my low life, like, I would tell you one point incidence is my point where I felt very low in my life when unfortunately I met an accident. And after that, I have to come back to my, native place. And for the next 6 months, I was on the bed. I was bedridden. So nothing to do, nothing to, nothing comes in forward. But at that time also, Dr. Khosla, I would like, he's a father figure to me. Dr. Khosla and Ma'am Khosla, repeatedly called me, consoled me, and told, "Bacha, koi chakkar nahi. तो जब भी फ्री होएगा, जब भी तू ठीक होएगा, come back, we will always welcome you." And that was the word. And Mr. Atul, we have a brief, interaction with each other at the time. We have a brief stint of GenPact. First GenPact, I was there with the team. So I was infatuated by your energy, your, passion for the things to be done. I think that's more important, to be motivated all the time. So I've learned many things. Thank you once again. Thank you so much for inviting, and I'll hope that we'll see once again each other for next very session.
Thank you, Vikas. Thank you, Suman ma'am. I think our time is over, but before we close, I'll request Vivek to give his one last one-sentence thought to all of us.
I'll say stay inspired, stay emotionally intelligent, and keep smiling and stay strong.
And stay safe. So once again,
Thank you, yes.
everyone. And
Thank you so much.
Wish you all a great day, and see you all very soon at Shulini or in Hamirpur.
Thank you
care.
so much.
Bye-bye.
Most welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye.